When we talk about all these trans women getting murdered, like when you sign up to be a woman, you've taken up the mantle of the most oppressed woman in this nation, and that's the black woman. So we're gonna have a conversation about that. It's not just happening to trans women, and we've been getting murdered before the cameras was rolling. We getting murdered because this is a man's world.
I'm Janelle Black. We are here with Tea Time Network, and we are here to discuss being a black trans woman in America. So let's get right into it. Starting here, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Ariel. I hail from Cincinnati, Ohio.
What's good, everybody? It's Dre Antonio. I also go by Also and Sade. I'm originally from Detroit, but I'm currently in Brooklyn, New York. You already know what time it is.
I'm Kaneen Mafa. Some of you know me as Tila, but it's Kaneen now. And I am from New Orleans, and I am also living in the Bronx right now. I'm really excited about being here with all of this melanin around my sisters.
And I'm Tia Carter, and I'm from Brooklyn by way of St. Louis, Missouri.
All right, ladies, let's get right into it. What is your experience being black and being a black trans woman in America?
I live for it. I live for it. I live for being myself. I've been being myself for a long time. I just recently got on hormones within the last 12 months, but I'm personally living for the opportunity to live out loud and to be exactly who the hell I am. So just as a surface answer to your question, as an individual, singularly, I love it.
Yeah, singularly. Yes.
I think you.
Oh, yeah. So I think for me, my experience has been a little bit different just because I'm a little bit younger, so I'm 21. And I started transitioning when I was 18. And so I think since then, a lot of things have like changed, especially how I kind of like perceive myself to be. And so it's been a hard but beautiful experience, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah, so I mean, I think for me, time period wise, since I started my transition at 14, so next year will be 29 years, and I think I could say now at this age, it's like things are finally starting to make sense for me, and like my life is starting to come full circle. But I think when I was younger, it was very hard. And I think that at times it's still hard because you understand the responsibility that I have for me personally, being a girl who is passable, but also being a girl who considers herself to be two-spirited, how hard it's been for some people who may never have what people like to call passing privilege. And I don't feel like it's a privilege because I had to work for this shit. But you know, people would say it's a privilege, but I don't think it's a privilege. I think it's something that you earn, just like a degree in school, you know, just like going to college. I feel like, you know, didn't nobody give me this. I had to work for it. So I feel like, you know, just from being from the South and having that experience, growing up in a small country town where I was like one of the first girls to take hormones and wear dresses, you know, because it was just not thought of prior to that. I think coming from that era to where I am now, I definitely could see a tremendous shift, you know, and I'm happy to see where the community has come, but it's been a long road because I can remember the girls used to walk up the street and bottles and stuff was getting pitched and rocks was getting thrown, honey, and used to make you want to, you know, report the boys to the police, you know, for, you know, you out here selling dope and stuff and you got the nerve to be teasing me on the block and stuff, you know, but I never raided the mail. I never did a 6ix9ine. I never snitched. I'm just saying.
Tia, how has your experience being a black trans woman in America?
I think that the more I get into my transition, my issues become less trans issues and more women issues.
Interesting.
So it kind of, you know, I wanted nothing more than to be a woman. I could just remember growing up, I wanted nothing more. My mother even used to say, you should have been a girl. My little sister, she should have been a boy. So I feel that I'm in a good place. I feel like I'm, kind of, I don't have to do another thing and I'll be okay. But it gets touchy because things are happening. I guess I grew up in an era where it was one goal. You transitioned and it was to be a woman, and that was the blueprint. But now I just feel a lot of times and a lot of things are going on and our existence is kind of being undermined. I feel like a lot of new agendas and just people want to be somebody, people want to be celebrities, people want to be important. I know, and everybody wants to amp it up. We never transitioned to like be trans, we transitioned to be women. It was like from one point to another, but it seems like now a lot of different things happening. The language is changing, and I want everybody to be included and accepted in everything, but I don't want it to be done at the expense of trans people. You said something a minute ago about working for it, and and it's not just enough to just take hormones,
right.
Or a lot comes with it.
Yeah.
And I just feel like a lot of us work so hard to get to a place, and other people can just come along and say, hey, I'm trans, and
And I get that.
yeah, and it's like, and it's really like, but we want all people in the community to be accepted,
yes.
and loved and all
yes.
of that. But it's like, why is to go to trans? Why is that the go-to thing to identify as? Because if you listen to really what people say that they are, you really listen to it, you're like, huh? And it has nothing to do with like the sexual preference or what you prefer in the bedroom. It's like, do you really feel like you're a woman, and or what I just a lot of times want to know what's the thing behind a lot of people transitioning. I'm about to complete my thought. I want to know a lot of times what is it behind transitioning, because I think that and I see it a lot online now. It's coming really gimmicky. I have to question anybody that every time you make a post, or every time you're in the trans flag, or you're hashtagging trans on everything.
It's almost like a fad.
Something about that doesn't sit well with me. And I just want people to like identify as something. Somebody has said something to me, and I'm gonna like end with this. But the way things are going, and all this new language and titles and everything, I would much rather for them to just identify us all as drag queens or something, because I feel like, and I'm saying that to make a point, because we confuse the world and society at large with all these different titles and names, and we want everybody
drag queen of all words,
or even gay. Listen, but you know what? No, or even gay, because you know what?
Okay,
I feel like
that's better than drag queen.
But I'm just
Okay,
saying.
so I just did a video talking
what
about
I'm saying is,
wait.
what I'm saying is, I would much rather for us to identify as one thing, to have the
So as a
unity
collective.
and the solidarity, because I feel like we are putting all these things out and it's confusing people. I had a straight friend, a heterosexual person, say to me, how do you expect for straight people to back the gay community when y'all got so much confusion yourselves? Y'all don't know what y'all want yourselves.
We didn't train.
But that's what
and
I
me
mean,
making
it's hard
that,
for someone
and
of that
me
community
making
to
that
ask you
statement.
something like that, or all the issues that they face in the straight community, and especially if they're black.
What I want to say to that is, I feel like that's what we fought for, and I said this the other day in a video. I think that it should just be the word trans. It shouldn't be transgender, because everybody's not changing their gender. Like, you can be trans questioning. You can be a trans, you have a changed sex life. It means you're attracted to a different sex than you're normally supposed to be. Like, I think trans is actually a word capable because it's an action and it describes things. I think it's a word actually capable of holding everything. But I think we're so quick to brand ourselves. Like, that's why I normally just say trans femme, or I'll say trans being. Or if I'm if I'm feeling like I'm channeling my foremother's energy that day, I'll say trans woman. But sometimes I feel like my daddy. So, and I came from my mom and my dad, and I think that's normal for me to, but it takes for us to get older to get to that place of comfort, because I think for a lot of us, we feel like we have to try harder to be a woman than biological females. We feel like we have to do something extra.
So Ariel, coming from a younger perspective, and you probably say you have a different experience. So how is that for you to be at a younger age than most of the women that's sitting on the panel right now?
I think for myself, I think I'm really, really privileged to be able to transition in a time where trans people are being seen more and more in the spotlight, and you mentioned something about how, passing is something you have to work for, What happens if that's
You're
not
not
your
working
goal?
for it, right?
Like
right. And see, I'm with you on
But
that.
y'all don't have to do that anymore. This generation doesn't have to, because of our blood, sweat, and
But
tears.
wait, this is really interesting because you do have, not to cut you off, because that is really interesting, because the goal may not be for them, because now we are in a world that they can have a space to be non-binary.
But is that trans?
My goal was, my goal was,
yeah, but it may not be your training.
my goal was not to get my
my
ass kicked. My goal was to look enough like my mama that dudes didn't want to beat my ass.
And it's
see,
I can agree with you. When I transitioned too,
I had to.
It was all about
for safety
surviving.
purpose, and
It
it
was
was
all
about
about
surviving.
surviving.
Don't get me wrong. I like being a woman. I like being like my mama. But if I wouldn't have had to do all of that shit to prove that that's who I really was, if you could have just saw my mama in me without me having to go and have all these surgeries, great.
I'm very envious of that, because you can just live free.
And my goal to transition isn't to look a certain way. It's to live my truth, as best I can, and my goal when it comes to transitioning, is to make it easier for the next generation, because,
In what regard?
just in the regard, to let them know, that it's okay to just exist. Because I think when it comes to being trans, I think we get caught up in this idea that we have to look a certain way. But for myself personally, I don't want that. I'm fine.
What's that?
What do you mean?
You said you don't want that. What is that?
Oh, I mean, looking a certain way, meaning that there's this idea that you have to be into makeup, into wigs and weave and this, that, and the other, and if you aren't, then clearly you aren't trans enough, or you aren't taken as seriously.
Wow.
Let me say something.
That's powerful.
To that point, to piggyback off yours.
That's powerful.
I'm 36 years old, so I kind of sit literally on the cusp. I'm like the oldest millennial that it is. So I know what it was to transition in a time where you had to put on makeup, you had to have the longest weave, you had to do all of that, to walk down in 5 points before you get your head knocked off. Like, I walked in a time
You better be
like
serious
that.
about this.
You better be serious. You can't be out here playing around with it. And you do have to work to become passable, because honey, when I look at pictures back in my heyday, I'm just like, bitch, what was you doing? And we made it. But it is so interesting
But
to
you
be
always passed.
to you, but not in my experience.
We'll be our own worst enemy, because I swear when I be walking down the
but not in
street,
my own experience.
when I walk down the street, I always hear somebody say to this day, "Is that a man?"
Yeah,
I hear it in my head.
So for 26 whole more years, and I know you, but I knew you for a whole decade, and from the moment I seen you, I was just like, okay.
Girl, she said it all the time, but
I didn't clock. I remember this shit like it was yesterday because like you spilled your tea to me and I just was like so mind blown. I was 19. I had never seen no shit like that before. Respectfully.
No, not
you understand what I'm saying? I had never had, you know. I was just like, bitch.
But see, that's even a whole nother topic. That's even like what the responsibility that you hold on your shoulders of being passable or being the ultimate cunt, because it comes with responsibility.
It sure do.
It comes with responsibility. So
Baby,
like,
titties and ass is a responsibility.
listen, it's a whole nother like, and I
So, Ariel, what do you have to say to that? Like, people, you know, the older generation feeling like you have to work harder to be respected as a woman.
My response to the older generation saying that is, we recognize how hard you work. You know, we acknowledge that, but I think we're getting to a point in society where we don't have to do that. You know, and I personally, I have so much respect for for y'all, because y'all went through so much shit, that I may never even deal with, because of the fact that I'm a part of like a younger generation, where we're taking in all of these new pronouns and we're taking in all of these new identities. My goal to transition wasn't, I want like a woman. It was, I want to be comfortable in my skin. And I have days, where sometimes.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you repeat what you just said? You said when your goal, when you decided to transition, was not to look like a woman?
I mean, yes. I mean, my goal, obviously, I am a woman. I want to transition, but it's changed to, my goal is not to.
You don't want to look like a caricature of a woman.
Tell me.
Is that what you're trying to say?
No.
I think she wanted to say it, she just don't want to.
No.
She speaks real well.
She's a
I know, but I just think that she.
Right.
I just think.
Let the child
I just want her to say it.
No,
though.
she gonna say it right now.
I want her to say it.
My goal is to live as free as I possibly can. Obviously I'm a woman, but for me, being a woman goes beyond makeup. It goes beyond all of these surface level things, if you will. I can choose not to wear weave. I can choose not to tuck, and I'm still a woman because I
that's liberating. It's no shame.
I don't tuck.
It's no shame.
I don't know. And at one point, like I remember when I was about senior, junior in high school, and I thought, well, even though I don't really identify with being a boy, am I really trans? Because I don't want the surgeries.
Okay, well, so question.
Yes.
To all of the ladies, let's shift it a little bit. Speaking of all of these surface level things, right? The tucking, and you're doing the makeup, and you got it there. But would you ladies say to be trans, are those your initiating things that you have to do? That y'all gotta have a tight
Wait a minute, let me just say something, because that's some bullshit. And I'm not trying to offend you or anything, but I feel like I call bullshit. It's some bullshit.
What's bullshit?
It's because listen.
What
listen.
specifically?
No, I'm just the bullshit. I'm a woman and it's all of that, and I can get up and I don't have to tuck. Fuck out of here with that. No, that's not.
So that's we gotta make me tuck this wig.
No,
I don't know.
She about to make me tuck my wig.
Wait. Go ahead.
Because I take it seriously.
Yeah.
Because
So
you,
I'm
not saying that you don't, but girls are getting killed. Like, for people to be.
I do agree with you to a certain extent.
It's just certain.
I agree to a certain
You
extent.
have to. There has to be some type of effort or something to. Or it's like why
For what?
why are you doing it? It's like if your goal can vary and you can be whatever type of woman you can be lesbian, you can be whatever you want to be or whatever, but if you don't feel like transition, the meaning is from one point to another.
Transition to what? What'd you just say?
The
Sorry.
meaning of the word transition
Okay, yeah, it
is
is.
from one point.
Wait.
It's from one point to another, and I just think, for me, it just doesn't sit well with me for someone to identify and say that I'm a trans woman and then say that I don't have to do this or do that, because that comes along with it too. You don't have to be this Barbie doll type or whatever it is, but
But what you're saying is you want to know if she has skin in the game. You want her to put some skin in the game.
So it is like an initiation
Well,
step for you to say, hey,
I want to hear her rebuttal to this.
My whole point. So
I wanna hear this about-
so you're saying I have to wear makeup? I have to.
I'm
No, she never said
I'm
you
not
have
saying
to.
you
She
have
never
to.
said you have to.
Most days I don't wear makeup. Most days
Can you
I
break
don't
down
wear
what
a
you just
wig.
said into a
I wear mostly my natural hair.
break
and
down
like
what you
all
want you to
that.
put some skin in the game
Break
is
down
what she's
everything
saying.
what you just
Because
said.
this is the thing that I would be concerned about. The girls who don't get no work done today or tomorrow, you could say, oh, I'm a man, patriarchy, I'm on that side. And we'll still be over here getting murdered and mauled with the fish. So I think this is where I get what she's saying. Where is your skin in the game? And I think that's always a fear.
I think that she's right.
I think that's a fear that you'll be able to just walk away and say, and so many people will have followed you, and so many people will be like, oh, I'm that kind of trans, and then you pop up next year and say, being trans is evil, it's demonic, and I'm a man, and I'm going back to the Lord, and I want to get my life together and give my life to Christ, and what was I thinking? And everybody done been thinking like you. You know what I'm saying? So that's the fear.
I want to hear what also has to say, because you sitting up and I know, but you putting the effort in. Your face is done, your makeup is done. You got on a fucking dress. Don't.
I mean, what would you say?
Where you going?
See where you going?
Here's what I'm gonna say to the situation.
Come on, girl.
I guess. See, the thing is, I understand both sides of the spectrum. Okay, because I mean, I came out as gay when I was 11 in 2001.
All girls do.
Right. No,
That's-
I'm giving my timeline. I'm giving my timeline just to give a sense of the time. Okay? That was 2001. Trans around when I was like 15. That was in 2005. Okay? I'm at a place where I can understand both sides of the spectrum. However, I do think, because I'm a Libra, so I'm looking at it from a balance standpoint. Yeah, on one hand, you're allowed to be whoever you want to be. You're allowed to present however you want to present. That's fine. That's dandy. I respect that. That's fine. However, there's a lot that comes along with the territory, you know, and I do think that there's a level of responsibility that you will hold if you don't hold it already. You will hold in the future, because it's not necessarily safe, and it would be in your best interest to, I don't even know, it just gets, it's very convoluted. It's very convoluted, because on one end, I could give a shit less about passing. I don't give a fuck. When I'm walking through the streets, I've always been gender non-conforming. I could care less if someone looks at me and says, you're a man. Bitch, you can't say I'm not done, no, girl. That wig is everything. That makeup is everything. So that's not, I don't have gender dysphoria in that way. However, I do think that sometimes, especially with a specific demographic in which you'll fall into, sometimes can be very confusing for the general public. And at this point in the world, in 2019, these are the problems that we currently face as trans women, as it comes and relates to us being respected in the gender in which we present as. I understand how the society is, I'm just as confused as cis and general society about how you present as they are. I'm just as confused.
Can I say something
about that in that way when they say,
Ariel, I don't want you to feel attacked.
Oh no, I don't. No, I don't.
Hear me out. Just I'm piggyback off on one end. when I said I understand both sides of what Tia said. So I understand that point. But then on the flip side, like I said, I could give a shit less about passing. Like that's not necessarily what I'm doing. I'm beautiful, I am passable in comparison to a lot of girls, but that's not necessarily what I'm going after.
But let me say this, being passable doesn't matter until you become passable.
Right.
And I feel like,
oh, that's a deep statement.
And I feel like, and I don't wanna, okay. I feel like a lot of the whole movement, like when I first started my transition, I'm over 6 feet tall. I always said the same thing to myself that you said. Okay, I will never probably be passable, but I'll just be a tall a pretty tall, because I'm pretty.
I'm beautiful. Right.
But bitch, once I start to moaning and breaking down and shit, and I start walking into stores, and little kids start saying, "Damn, mom, she's tall," and everybody's like, "Ma'am," and I start passing more and more. See, I think the whole movement was even started by bricky, rocky girls who really couldn't pass anyway.
Yeah, this is
so
true.
no, bitch, no, I'm serious.
Right.
Like in the girls, and it was always, and we even in the trans community, there has always been a hierarchy of girls who had work and girls who didn't. Like I say, bitch, the saying used to be no seal, no surge, no pass. But even now that we're afforded chances to get surgeries and stuff here in New York City, there's become even deeper divide in the community, because now it's saying if you don't have bottom surgery, oh, you're not, really trans. So we do.
Fuck that.
No, right. So it can be the same thing with girls who are post-op and pre-op. It's kind of like almost the same fight with girls who or pre-op or whatever, or the whole trans community having different issues with people who are trans and then still being
but
non-binary,
right? See, I mean, and what respectfully, you're in the perfect place for who you are.
Like, yeah, no,
respectfully, because only the white girls are respecting that in a way where they're not unpacking it for you. If that makes sense.
But I know people who identify as gay men.
Right. Black girls, we gonna pack your shit for you.
But I know people who identify as gay men who get breast implants. I know young girls who look like women, who dress up every day and identify themselves as gay men. So for
women.
me, no, I'm talking about young girls.
Women.
No, I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. You said
girls
women.
who look like girls. I'm saying like my sisters.
Okay.
But they don't identify. They're 17, 18, 16. I see them all the time on Instagram. Wearing dresses, hair, no makeup, wash face, giving you that cunt that all of us gave when we were 17, 18 years old. And they will not call themselves girls, they will call themselves gay men. And I think the reason why they say that is because if you say you're trans, you're trying to trick and fool somebody and you can end up dead. So it's safer for me just to say that I'm a man and we're gonna nip all of that in the bud. So for me, it becomes not about, for me, skin in the game is not about your aesthetic. Because trans can be changing mentally or changing physically or changing both of them. But
really,
for me,
all of it.
I mean, and that's, we all have our opinion, but I don't think it should be all. I pay more attention to the alignment of the person who is saying what they are. If you're transitioning to be a woman, then you should be more in line with a matriarch and not a patriarch. So for me, when I see trans women who are cut down and they still uphold the views of the patriarch, that's a problem for me, because I know girls with big ass titties, body work and all that, and they love the patriarch. They support it. They support the way this country is. They support capitalism. They know all of these things are destroying our nation, and they support it. So you can be physically, aesthetically, look at Flame Monroe. She is beautiful aesthetically, but he considers himself, excuse me, he, they, because, that's not my sister, that's my elder, and I respect them as a trans person, but I don't see them as my sister. So, because they're in line with the patriarch, and they're a person who sees themselves as when I gave up my manhood and I started my transition, I decreased in value. I went down in value. And so when I look at someone who looks at their transition like I'm decreasing in value by making these changes to myself, I don't have respect for that. Like, if you don't want to have the surgery because you don't want to be bound by that, that's one thing. But if you think that getting the surgeries make you less than or somehow make you inferior to who you are without the surgeries, then that's when it's a problem for me.
I just don't want the surgeries because it's this money, it's time, it's energy. I'm a lazy bitch. And I'm a lazy bitch. Like,
But it's not even all on surgeries. Like, people look and say, "Who had a lot of surgeries?" Bitch, I ain't doing nothing but take hormones.
And she's
got my
also
breast
not all.
improved.
I think I remember the first thing that I said to myself when I seen your story, when I read the article, when your story went viral.
For those that don't know, Miss Ariel, she had posted a photo shoot with the trans flag, and
It was beautiful. I saw it.
and the picture went viral
the one
because
with the bed.
a lot of people were sharing it, saying that she was not a trans woman. So I felt her voice was. I wanted to bring her on to have this conversation amongst Black trans women,
Right.
to explain herself and explain to the naysayers that, you know, her transition is not about how she looks, it's more about how she feels.
regardless-
and it needs to be respected.
Regardless of how she presents right now, if she's on muscles, Miss Thing is not always going to look like this. Miss Thing's
Right.
hair is going to grow.
Right.
Miss Thing is going to get cut. This may be her beginning, but this is not going to be her end.
And who knows how she
But
gonna
I just
look
said that. I just said
Right.
you're passable. You being passable doesn't matter until you become passable.
Right.
So-
I just said that. But at the same time, I think that historically trans women, and I think that a lot of times our community is our fault because we some bad fucking bitches, and the images that we have put forth within the community. I tell a lot of times when I go into gay settings and gay men, they think that they're attracted to me, but it's not really attraction. It's an admiration. So a lot of that is what's happening. And then also we have to acknowledge. I was speaking on earlier how a lot of these girls become girls. Not everybody who became a girl wanted to had that desire and used to sit home and play with dolls and all of that. That was not their experience. A lot of them came into the scene and got in drags, or because of ballroom, or because they felt they could make more money.
And pluck the trade. Some of them did it for dick.
Right. Let me
Some of them
tell
do
you,
it just to get that type of
I always like tell a story. There was a guy who lived next door to me, a gay guy. He would dress up in drag and have boys and stuff, and we got into it because I told him, you can't do that living next door to me, because if anybody says
They're gonna
it's a
they're gonna
tranny,
shoot.
they're gonna identify him as trans.
Yeah,
It's a
please
tranny
don't do that.
in that
Don't do
building
that.
plan.
Don't do that.
And so I'm the visible trans person that's, well, I don't, you know, but people in the neighborhood, they know. So if it's any boys, if he played with a certain boy a certain type of way or some, or trick or don't
They'll
tell,
try to do
when they say it's a fucking tranny in that building playing or whatever, who they gonna come after? Me. He gonna take his drag off and come outside and go
As a
to.
boy. Yeah.
So these are my issues. Like it's just. It's exhausting.
That's why I stopped calling girls who not girls. Like, I used to call RuPaul she. I stopped doing it. I call Big Frida she. I stopped doing it. If you say you're a man, you're a man.
And we have to realize that our sexuality and all that stuff is on a spectrum. Gay men have always wore makeup and wore girl clothes and been androgynous and just all of that stuff. And my thing is like, Ariel,
Yes.
which you even made a post, and we kind of went back. Well, you didn't really say anything. I just kind of read on the post, and you didn't say anything. Your people kind of got at me. But the post was you saying, I think you made a comment.
Was it the non-binary people or?
You were saying that trans people want to eradicate non-gender people. Yes.
What I remember it's something like binary trans people want to erase want to erase non-binary trans people in the same way that cis people want to erase binary trans people. Or it was something along
That was
those
it.
lines.
And that rhetoric, and I had to jump in and say something about that because I'm increasingly seeing people who are not binary trans attacking the trans community, and that's when I start to have a problem.
Because it definitely divides.
I
It
think-
definitely divides, and whether you realize it or not, that single post excluded you from the entire exclusivity of the trans community itself. It's to say that says that you are not the same as her. Or
I'm
as
not
her,
gonna lie,
or as them.
even being post-op, I've said things about binary trans people because I've been a binary girl, and so now like my pronouns are she, but my pronouns are also they.
I
No,
think
the
you've been
reason why
you've been non-binary. You're binary now.
Yeah, well, no. I was like before I had my sex change, I was very binary. I thought it was you was either gay or straight, up or down, left or right. It ain't none of that. I thought every girl needed to get hormones. Every girl was supposed to get castrated or get a sex
Gotcha.
change.
Okay.
I thought like that because that was when I was a part of the Christian religion and all that. So after I got my sex change, my thought process, because I was like a lot of what you're saying. I saw all trans women looked a certain way, and I felt like it was like this. We all were trying to look like white women, and that bothered me. It was like we were all trying to look like these women from film in the 1950s and 60s, and we took it and we put our own thing to it. But I didn't see the girl who was comfortable with wearing her real hair, and the girl, I mean, like in mainstream, I saw her in my neighborhood, I saw her around me.
When did you
but I
notice
didn't
the
see,
switch? You too, because when did you notice the switch? Because there has been, we can say, to
2009.
being trans, there has been like kind of a protocol.
Yeah,
I felt like
Laverne.
2009, 2010.
When Laverne blew up and when Laverne became visible.
No, but I'm
a
saying
shade.
the switch. I'm saying the switch from when did you start to see girls saying, "I don't have to be feminine. I don't have to be."
Oh, I think that just happened in the past 5 years.
Yeah,
I think that's
for me. It's been recent because
Yeah, the past 5
I
years.
think when
that's definitely a thing. Like that's definitely a thing. My generation.
like literally like it's almost just like this generation that's coming up is just like erasing all rules that was not that it's rules, but it's just erasing all of the systematic things that society has been doing. This generation that's coming up is literally getting rid of all
I
this
think
shit,
it's the
which could be
hierarchy.
good.
I
It
think
could be
it's the
and it
hierarchy.
could be good and it could be bad in a way because the people that's older gonna have a difficult time changing, and the ones that are younger like, nah, bitches, we here and we going nowhere. But it's recent. The change has been recent. I have never in my life.
I would say like 2009 because if you think about it, the plastics bust through Morehouse in 2009, 2010.
Okay, and Atlanta is a really good place to set this up because I lived in Atlanta, so I went through.
I'm talking about nationally. Like that was the first time, like nationally, where you saw black, either non-binary or trans people push the edge in a media.
But they
standpoint.
wasn't saying that I'm trans. They were
They
still
weren't.
Give
saying.
an example.
Give an example of one of the people.
Yeah,
Well,
who's
Chanel Hudson. And she's like a top publicist in the country right now.
To me,
She's-
Janet Mock was the first time I heard anybody being trans in national publication.
But
That just
Janet
reminded
really
me.
No, I'm
just-
talking
But all of
about
that was around
non-binary.
2009.
You talking about when
I
did
mean,
we
it
see
really
that?
feels
That's been the past 5
It feels like
years.
Janet was the last 5 years because Janet was in the closet with her transhood for a
Yeah,
little
she
while.
wasn't even openly.
But Janet started
She
to rise
started
up
the
around
conversation.
2011, 2012.
She was the
because
first one
that
to
was
start the conversation.
like her and Laverne.
Okay,
I saw them rising at the same time.
13, 14.
And a lot of
I don't know about
bloggers.
11, 12, 13, 14.
Yeah, and a lot of bloggers like Diamond Styles, like T.S. Madison, myself, Chocolate Mama. We was doing YouTube videos. Brianna, you know what I'm saying? So like that was a real time for us, and because there was so many of us having conversations. But I think that this generation is a little triggered by us because this is going ahead and keep it real. Girls who have 15 years in this and upwards, like we have been conditioned to the hierarchy, because I'm not gonna lie,
There's
like
hierarchy. There
the
is.
girls who did not like I used to hang around girls who had sex changes, and because I wanted one, not every girl wants a sex change, but because I knew I wanted one, I felt intimidated around girls who had a sex change. And we would talk about it like it was, you know, like she had went and got her degree. You know how when somebody get a degree, we always say the letters behind their name, but when we would talk about a girl who had a sex change, we'll say, oh, you know so-and-so, the one with the pussy. Like, we always have to say, you know the one with the sex change. So, like, I wanted that. I wanted somebody to say, you know, the one with the sex change. Like, I wanted that. And so when I would be around girls who had it, it made me feel insecure. And I was a little jaded, you know. And after I got my sex change, like you said, you don't get it until after it happens. Like, because when I got castrated, I said, I'm not gonna have the sex change. I'm gonna still be true to what I was born, because, you know, I was still in my little Christian way, thinking that the man was supreme and superior, and being a man somehow made me superior. I was still in that frame of mind. So when I got my castration, I was like, I'm not gonna get my pussy. I'm just gonna go ahead and just have the castration. 6 months after them nuts was gone, I was miserable. I was like, I want a pussy. I was like, this just in the way now. It's just in the way. You know, like my mindset started to change. So we don't know how she'll feel in 5 years, you know, basically, because it's a process. She's saying now, I don't want no surgeries. 5 years from now, she might be.
I mean, see the difference between what you're going through right now. I mean, the difference between you right now and the girls before is like traditionally the girls when they start their
had to.
They know either they do that, they get up in and they are full in. Or they moan out for years and don't tell nobody, and then out of nowhere you see them. As
that's how I used to go on my jobs.
You know
I used to go on my jobs dressed like a boy, and I would start moaning on my jobs.
You know,
almost 3 years.
Okay, on HRT, right?
Yes.
So technically, you're further along in your transition than I am. I'm 12 months in.
And it's not
so
even like
really
the aesthetic and all that. It's like the whole package of what's being presented. No, I'm speaking specifically to Ariel. Ariel, what you present, and I don't doubt or want to downplay your transition, but sometimes when everything is so trans, it's so. You know, and I'm not saying that you don't have the right to do
almost like
that.
Like her brand is trans.
Yeah, and it's like
instead of her identity.
But I mean, that's
exactly.
It's your brand instead of your identity.
I mean, but it's who I am. So
I get that.
Shouldn't I be proud?
Yeah, of course you should.
So are you saying that I should bring it up every 4th second?
I'm not saying how you should. I'm just saying how. I'm just saying how it's perceived.
Maybe you should make the conversation bigger than trans. Maybe make the conversation more about like I would like to see the younger generation not be so focused on that word, but being focused on when you say you're a woman, you've taken up the mantle of the most oppressed woman in this nation, and that's the black woman. So we're gonna have a conversation about that. That's what kind of aggravates me when I constantly hear, and this is no shade, and some people might get mad at me for saying this.
No,
I want to finish this line right here though. But when we talk about all these trans women getting murdered, like when you sign up to be a woman, you know what it's hitting for. Mm-hmm. It's not just happening to trans women, and we've been getting murdered before the cameras was rolling. We getting murdered because this is a man's world, and you chose to be a woman. And some people think that's the ultimate disrespect. How dare you give up your privilege?
Answer that question specifically. What do you say to people? Because there are, besides Tia, there are many people out here who want to know, how do you differentiate you being trans from being a brand and from it being your identity?
You better say that.
Even now, sitting with a nigga shirt on is like
it comes across
everything
as branded.
is like gimmicky. Like it's.
You know how like if somebody
and that's how
hair.
this young generation is.
You know how like if somebody sells hair or somebody has a business, they're promoting that business. That's what she means. Like when she say like, oh, when I see a post, it seems like a lot of it, more times than not, is trans related. So how do you differentiate for the people?
Because it is a way to build capital and collective power.
I feel like a part of it could be someone could see y'all being like some people who as having internalized transphobia. The fact that you're tired of hearing other people being so proud of being trans.
Look,
There could be internalized transphobia in that.
Listen,
I feel like it makes us more of a target.
Hold on.
I feel like a lot of the times when things happen.
But Ariel, are you perceived as a trans woman when you go outside?
it depends on how I look. It depends on how I look, and also that is
Which part?
that's playing. It makes us more of a target. That is playing into this idea that it's these girls' faults that they're getting murdered, and no tea, no shade.
I'm not blaming the girls. No, I'm blaming boys that dress up in drag and shit and play for girls' murders. I'm not blaming the girls. I'm blaming the people who
we see your
play.
spirit, baby.
I'm
We
not.
see your spirit.
It really affects me because I live this and I've worked within the community and I know what I'm talking about. You know, a lot of people, they play in the game and trans is the thing. I can't tell you how many boys I know who get up and play and drag and stuff and
say that they're trans.
That's right.
So
That's
this
right.
is my
They there
issue.
for the dick. And
Okay,
the
so
toys.
wait, because I've been quiet. I've just been listening to
But
you
they
guys.
there for the
Let her
slut.
Let her finish, and then Janelle take over.
My thoughts on that of boys who play makeup and dresses and all that, I personally see nothing wrong with that. Now, once you start claiming a trans identity, when you know you don't identify, when you know for a fact, I'm a boy who likes to wear wigs and makeup and this, that, and the other, but when you start lying about being trans to get sex, that's my problem. Because personally, how I see
I don't
it,
even think that that's a problem either, though. Because if an individual chooses to do that and they're solid in that decision for themselves as an individual, that's fine. I don't give a fuck.
But
But why would you be there?
But
Why would you be there to create that narrative?
Well, see, and now let me say this because this is very controversial, and I think I've said this to Ashley, and we've had the conversation about how it's controversial. But I told Janelle this. I transitioned because for me, I always said that I did not want to be an adult non-binary man. I was either going to be a man or a woman. And that's a very old school part of it in me. But I'm just I did not want to grow up and be a 40-year-old man putting on makeup and shaving stubble and all of that shit. Honey, you're a girl. You like dresses, you like hair, you like nails, you like this type of man. You are a girl. So that's that. So, it's not for me.
I like that.
For me, it's not like I was born in the wrong body because I know very well what I was born as.
that's an old narrative too.
But I understand and I empathize with
But a
you
lot of people
earlier
feel
when
like
you.
that,
I know.
though.
Earlier,
That's the popular narrative that we're all born in the wrong body. Is that the narrative?
Wait.
Is that the narrative?
I do think that is definitely a narrative, but I empathize with something you said earlier, Tia, because my thing is that I always knew that I was trans and that I would transition, not because I felt like, but because I knew I'd had access to. This is how I feel oh my God, I want to be a woman so bad. This is where I'm comfortable. I don't present, I don't have the demeanor, I don't have this, I don't have that of this manhood. This is what I want specifically. However, the whole bottom line of what I'm saying is that I do think that there's somewhat of a responsibility, and maybe you just don't get it right now.
Responsibility for what?
No,
For me to do what? Because
because if you were a nobody, it would be another thing. But you have a platform, and you are calling, and you identify as trans. So that gives you a responsibility in terms of what you present from a media standpoint. From a media standpoint, as someone who has a following, because you're putting those things out for the power of influence to change. To move the mark, so to speak, right?
No, if I can go off.
No. Yes or no? Answer that question for me. You're putting the things out there.
But that's kind of how we felt about Monique when Monique
I am.
started losing
But
okay.
when you speak of responsibility, no tea towards you, I got no shade towards you.
Mm-hmm.
I love you, but I don't do shit. I really don't. That's. I don't have to do shit. If I wanted to.
No, that's bullshit. I'm gonna say that respectfully. That's bullshit because you don't have to do shit, but then you're asking people to respect what you present. They don't have to.
And then it seems like it's like I want to go back.
Like
it's an attack on
I'm
the
just saying,
binary.
I'm saying how that comes.
It's like
no,
this,
how that comes.
You have a responsibility to what you put out.
No, for your community, for the girls that you do care about. You don't have to tell me you care about the young trans girls that come after you who present like you for me to know that you do. So you do absolutely have a responsibility in that regard.
Because you are starting a tribe.
Right.
You do absolutely.
And not call
You're responsible for that tribe.
So what is she responsible? I'm confused. What is she responsible for?
No, responsibility.
Just responsible to be consistent with
Consistent
who
with
she
what?
says she is.
Wait, who said
I mean, I can't
No,
tell
no,
her.
I didn't say
I'm not saying
Well,
you're
no.
not. That's what I'm
Right.
saying.
No.
For me, that's the only thing that I would want for a girl like to have a platform, because I understand that we do have a
But she is
responsibility.
consistent. She's so consistent that
No,
she
but
keeps
see,
saying
I'm
she's
like-
trans.
I'm not judging.
She has to say she's trans.
But before you go into it, I want to just say this about the born in the wrong body.
Let's go about that.
Because I wanted to touch on this.
I've been so quiet, and I really, I'm letting y'all get y'all shit out. At the end of the day, amongst the younger girls and the older girls, what it boils down to, we are here for self, period. Whether Ariel don't have titties or don't want to put on makeup, whatever, they still killing her.
Oh, I got titties.
No, it,
No,
I'm not saying it.
I know.
Show 'em, sis.
I know
Let me finish. Oh, whether
One more time and I'm gonna throw that away.
Oh, whether you do, I wasn't pointing out that you didn't. I'm just saying that we are in the moment.
Okay. All right.
They there. They there.
Like I was saying at the end of the day, we have a
That's right, baby.
Okay.
You better be proud of your nubs, honey, your little knockers.
Oh, wait a minute.
Okay.
She have my A cup, baby. I know that's right, baby.
This is me. Like,
But what I want to say is, I feel like I was
Let
born
me
with
finish
the
what I was
wrong
gonna say.
part.
Let me go.
Not the wrong body, just the wrong
Because I don't
part.
get y'all the table. It's a responsibility amongst sisters to uphold our sister no matter what choices they choose to do. The moment you hear trans, it is your responsibility, my responsibility, your responsibility, your responsibility,
my
her responsibility.
No, but
to
I don't
hold
agree
them.
with every bitch that
We
says
don't
they
have
trans,
to.
though.
But we don't have
don't
to.
play in my face because I'm not supporting the bullshit.
Oh my.
Fuck outta
So
here.
what's the bullshit? Let's elaborate. What is the bullshit?
But we can't say Ariel.
I'm not
saying
Ariels. I'm like, it's
You
not
said
just
general.
Ariel. I'm just saying in general. It's a lot of bitches that y'all know be playing. I'm not talking about like Ariel. People want to say and identify as trans. Bitch, you're not. But when I look at something and we talk about sisterhood and
Is it because
we
of, like,
have
your
the
language
this and
that
that,
you feel that
no,
way?
it's not even that. But it's like a lot of girls. It's like, no, girl, you're not my sister.
Question I want to ask, girl, is we supposed to all be standing in the line together, girl, with the same motherfucking shaped ass,
No,
the same
we
shaped
don't. We
titties,
all don't
the same
get
wig?
it.
Because I think that's when girls get along with each other, when all of them got the same bags of motherfucking bundles in their head, girl, when they got the same packs of weave, when they done went got they still done by the same motherfucking surgeon, when they done went got the same damn bags, and everybody over here looking like an android built a body ass.
And see, that's not my experience.
Right.
And I think because I worked for a long time and I upgraded the girls for a long time before I transitioned, I was the upgrader for the girls. So way before I got on hormones, it was me that the trans girls came to get softened when I was a whole boy. Way before that. So I mean, I get what you're saying at the same time, but it's just like, really? Is it really that?
But it's a whole
listen,
it's a whole listen, because that ain't even my experience at all. Like, you don't have a choice.
Because more of the drag
Bitch, I
queens
thought it was
are
male
starting
to
to do the
female.
extra.
No,
Transition.
listen,
That's it.
listen.
Like, I don't-
Baby, these drag queens
Hold up.
is slaying.
Hold up.
These drag queens is not playing.
Ain't not no shade.
Listen,
These drag queens are not playing.
I come from a younger generation where, you know, where for us, you know, we don't see man, woman, like
Your generation.
How would you expect someone to respect you as a woman when you don't want to present as a woman, but you feel like a woman?
Well, I mean,
that's the confusing part that people may have.
Let me ask y'all this question: what would y'all say for cis women who might dress like me?
That's
who might
not what we're talking about.
with beards.
Well, no. I'm saying if they can do those type of things,
And be a
then
woman.
why can't I?
I know that's
my
right.
point I'm trying to
Come on,
make.
sister.
Like, and if I say
I
I'm
mean,
a
'cause I know
woman,
women
then
who
you're
look like you.
going to treat me like
I know
one.
women who look like
Like,
I know
why
women who
is
look
it?
like
And I,
one.
but my thing is, hold on. Why do a lot of girls feel like I have to put in all of this work
When females
cis
don't do it.
women
That's
don't?
But I
have
already
to?
said that this was more than about your aesthetic.
Right, like, right.
It's not even about
And
it's about like
I'm saying that in
you're
response.
saying.
I'm saying that in response to the
okay.
It's
photo
about the
shoots
entire
that I
narrative.
had.
About the narrative. That specific question
The
was
narrative? It's about the narrative?
Are you afraid that she's
no,
going
when
to
you
become
said-
the face
no.
of transness?
no, I'm not-
Ish, yes she is. She don't
You
want
know
to
what?
say it, but
I'm not
ish.
afraid. I'm not
Ish.
afraid of that because
Ish.
I know. Let me tell I'm not afraid of that because I know that what's
Ish.
for me is for me, and there's gonna be. But I will say that a person
There
who
needs to be
identifies
separation.
as trans, such as herself, will get a more of a backing and a following to a trans woman who is, because that's why I'm saying that makes it seem even more gimmicky. Even the way that people are buying, so when all the white people get to come because they support, and I don't want to say they won't support
say how
a
you
real
gonna say
trans
it.
woman.
I mean, like, we've had Laverne to be the blonde wig
Laverne is-
RuPaul. I mean, this is not
Right.
shade.
She's missing-
I'm not about to be shady.
Oh,
I'm just gonna
no,
tell the
no, it's all love.
truth. This is my opinion. I still love Laverne. She's doing
is.
wonderful. She's amazing. I feel like we've had like the glamazon phase of this transness thing. Why can't we have trans women who look like Erykah Badu and India Arie? And why can't we have that?
But-
why do all trans women have to look like the founding
Because up
fathers?
until recent times, wait a minute, up until
Have to look
recent
like the
times,
founding fathers.
up until recent times, trans woman, our model was white woman. It was, y'all know
Yeah,
the saying,
yeah,
white woman cunt.
yeah,
We
yeah,
have just
yeah.
now got to the
I'm
point
glad
where
you said that because a lot of girls won't say it.
Shirt. So, I wanted to explain the shirt. So basically, I have a friend who makes these shirts. Jay, he'll him up. He'll make you a shirt for $20. Anywho, as I was planning this trip, I took the trip to New York to see a show called Slave Play, which deals with like black issues. And so me, being a very, very political person that I am, I decided, okay, so I want to make a statement. And so I wore this shirt that says nigga for two reasons. One, because I'm not just an actor, I'm a black actor. And two, I'm not just trans. I'm a black trans woman. Because I think I think what happens is that, well, and this is part of my own personal experience. Because I go to a predominantly white school and everything, and they're always saying trans this, trans that, blah 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 blah. But they always forget to leave out, black trans folks. And so, so this shirt for me, this is me kind of, I guess, reclaiming my time in a sense that, I'm not this trans girl that you can use for your little diversity bullshit. I'm a black trans nigga. And that's how it's gonna be.
it seems like you're playing right into and being the puppet, and being the token black trans person.
I agree. No shade.
Whatever. So,
But I promise you I'm not.
but I'm
I
just
agree
saying.
with what
I'm
you just
just
said,
saying.
yes.
You're.
I like her. She's likable. She's likable. This is not a read to you. I'm a cool bitch. I'm not reading you.
No, I understand.
I'm not reading you, but I don't. You said it specifically. I don't have to see it. And it does. It comes across as it. You said it specifically. You're a political girl. This is definitely. I
don't think there's anything wrong with you being political.
No, I don't.
I don't think it's anything wrong with you being
I know.
Because of our
Speaking for
trans
myself, I speak for a lot of people when I say I want to see you in 5 years, girl. I want to see you in 5 years.
And I don't have a
That's gonna make all of the difference. different.
Wait a minute. The only
Who
thing
she
that
is
I
in 5
really
years.
Because I like you. You're a likable girl. It's not a read to you, but I
No,
know.
I know.
But I think
don't
the
let
more, no, I
all
think
of
the
that-
more that I have thought about it, you have a responsibility because you're a new type of girl. You're a hybrid. This is the first.
hybrid.
That's right.
No, this is
That's
the
right.
No, listen.
That's right.
You're first. You're
You are a new generation.
You are a first of your kind.
Yes.
So that's where your responsibility
You are
comes
evolution.
in. Like if nobody else is to be able to speak to your transition
wouldn't-
into your womanhood ish.
I
But
wouldn't
don't
say-
let them commercialize you. Don't turn into a commercial product because they will commercialize
Here's the
you.
thing. Here's
It's an agenda for every fucking thing.
here's
You
the
got a
thing.
white boyfriend, don't you?
I mean, I did have a white trans guy hit me up.
Uh-huh.
So, but, but.
Can I say something on a deeper level that y'all probably hadn't thought about? But, and this is not, but in New York City, we have a lot of funding. The government pays for different things, you know, for girls who are less fortunate and want to be affirming in their transition. I do feel like if people, more non-binary people, start to really stand up and be like, I'm trans, and I'm fine being this way, and I don't have to affirm my gender and stuff like that. The people are going to start to say, oh, okay, well, she's trans too, and she says she okay, and she don't need no titties and all that, so maybe y'all don't need surgeries and stuff either.
So you're saying it's almost like a fear of the funding being erased?
I don't think that's gonna happen because it's too much. It's too much money. There's too much money in it, and we're capitalists.
But
If they don't want to build the body girls to disappear. They don't want the machine making too much coin off of that.
But what I'm saying is, there is still, and Ariel might not be.
I think the bullet is split. That motherfucker splits into a bunch of different things and hits a bunch of different targets. Like you've said a bunch of great points. I just think
only problem I truly had, because when they first posted the thing, that's when we became Facebook friends, and I actually came to your defense on the post.
Same.
Yeah.
The only
You haven't accepted my friend request yet.
The only problem I had was with the post that you made, and it wasn't
After
just
or
that
before?
one post, and you were, to me, it seems as if you were pitting trans women who are passable in the binary
I
against
agree.
those who weren't. And if
What post was it?
As
if you, the one that you just called out,
I think it's an overall.
Oh,
That's
wait,
a-
wait,
Why you didn't accept my friend
and
request
everything?
because I'm so country.
No.
I'm saying,
No.
I'm speaking about the post where
About the one
you
where you
pitted
said, you think,
binary
trans
people.
women want to see all non-binary trans people fall.
And you were speaking as if you were not really trans yourself, and I just don't want to. But just let me finish.
And I feel like that's the reason why, because I sent you a friend request and you haven't accepted
Can
my
I,
friend
can,
request.
can I
I got a
finish?
lot of her, but I'm not
Can I
sorry.
finish? That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. That is, I just don't want to see that. Do you, be you, live your best life, but don't throw us under the bus while doing it. Listen, that's the only thing I have. Be you, I would support whatever you're doing. But if you, like, I don't know, because I work within the community and I support everybody to be everybody, but I've been most hurt. I find in doing the things that I'm doing, misogyny is all across the board, even with gay men. So I have to work hard to be a woman. Every day and to be a woman. And I transitioned to be a woman. I didn't transition to be in the middle and to be trans. And if that's your journey and that's where you are, that's fine. But don't throw me or my sisters who are how we are under the bus and launch attacks and stuff like that, because it's not. Because anytime I see that, I'ma come for your neck.
And that's what I don't like about the non-op girls. I'm gonna say that, like, I done had some experiences, and they automatically, because I'm not gonna lie, a lot of girls who have gotten that far in their transition have been shady to non-op girls. And so they automatically expect, by me being a sex change, I'm gonna be looking down on them or looking down on my nose. And so they come at me with the shade. And see, when you come at me with the shade, that's when I'm gonna go back to my old attitude, and I'm gonna start giving, what's easy, what comes natural. I'm gonna start, with the brick comments and all that type of stuff. And I try not to do that because that's sincerely not who I am. I've learned how to look at people's spirit and see their soul and respect them for where they are. But when you try to invalidate my transition and you try to make me feel like, oh, you went too far, all of that wasn't necessary, why you got all that done, that's outdated, you a dated queen, we ain't doing that. When you start giving me like you're superior, then I'm gonna give you the same thing. You know, so that's how we create division. Like, don't assume that because the girl is advanced in her surgery, that just because she walked with her head held high and she's proud of who she is, or she celebrates who she is. You know, just, I'm saying in general, don't, no girl who is non-op, because that shows insecurity on that girl's part. Because the reason why you're lashing into her is because secretly, low-key, she got something you want.
And literally, that's a major part of what a lot of girls have issues. Why we do have issues, because we're not doing the self-work for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just be really clear. We can go to all the therapy sessions that we want to go through, but it's a personal self-work things that a lot of us girls need to do when we are presenting the way we presenting, and when we are doing the things we do it. Because then when you do have a situation where we on opposite sides, we know how to handle it. Because for me, my experience is totally different. I didn't have a choice. I had titties in middle school. I've been short since day one. I have looked like this since day one. I really didn't have a choice in the matter. I didn't even get to go through the process that a lot of my sisters go through, that rite of passage. I didn't get to go through that. So I literally look at my situation. I be like, all right, Janelle, this is how you was able to navigate in this world. And you got to respect every girl's journey, no matter if it's 10 years away from here, she just started last week, whatever, no matter the case is, because everybody is different. So I did, me personally, what I try to tell the girls, do your self-work. So you ain't got to worry about the next girls that got the baddest. Because, bitch, my friends, one of my closest friends right now, literally was walking in New York City with this bitch yesterday. This bitch is bad. Bad to the bone. But I don't have no issue with her being so bad to the... And she has a pussy. And she has a pussy. Men flock at her, but I don't have no issue with that because Janelle did the self-work. And that's a lot of mistake that a lot of us sisters not doing. We're not doing the self-work. So we don't know how to stand beside our sisters. We don't know how to stand beside area when it's like that. We not doing the fucking self-work when you do the self-work.
But
Can I explain
but at the same time, wait a minute. Let me talk about.
I
Wait, can I finish this? Because this is what she was just saying. I get what you're saying, and yeah, it's to stand by it, and all the time it's not giving that. But we also have a responsibility to check bitches too, to say,
that's true.
You know, and my thing is about being on one accord. It's not an attack or anything. It's about being on one accord. So I'm not going to be attacking you, especially or just bringing. It's already too much division. People are confused. Like I said, I have family members and shit who are attempting to like want to come out and say like, I'm having this type of attraction, or you know, what is going on, what should I say, what, you know, people shouldn't be so on edge just simply on what to call us. So, but we don't know what to call us. We so divided in all of that. So yeah, and I've been out for a while, and I feel like it's just my responsibility. I'm gonna speak up on shit. I'm about to graduate from media school. I'm doing my own productions and stuff, and I'm going to have a voice and let it be known. And when I see something that I don't like or ain't right, I'm gonna say something about it.
So.
Okay.
I want to explain that post. We've been talking about it like hell. So, like I said,
and FYI, you gotta fill me in because I did not see the post. So say it just like no one's seen it.
Okay. So I made a post on Facebook that says something like, binary trans people want to erase non-binary trans people in a way that cis people want to erase binary trans people, if that makes sense. And basically the reason why I made that post was because I have a lot of like non-binary friends who tell me like, who tell me like, yeah, I've had binary trans people, tell me that I'm not trans enough because I have this. Because of how I identify, they don't take me seriously enough. And so, I made that post to say that whether we want to acknowledge it or not, binary trans people have privilege. And I don't mean within safety or anything like that. I mean in the sense that if we say, oh, I'm a trans woman, it's much more accepted versus when you say I'm non-binary. It's like, what's that? Well, this, that, and
Really?
But
I don't agree with that.
I think it's also challenging.
I feel like non-binary people are more respected than
They are. They are.
I think so.
Because they feel like, listen.
they can respect you more because you're not a threat to them. If
Exactly.
someone who's non-binary is not a threat to
It's like
someone.
at least you're not trying to be a woman. Oh,
Right.
God.
It depends on if you're non-binary and you're non-operative, because non-binary people who have made sex, because don't forget,
Right.
there are people who have had surgeries and consider themselves non-binary. So there are post-ops and pre-ops that consider themselves non-binary. I think that we have to be specific. The ones who are
I
non-operative.
think I identify as non-binary. I just don't come across more boyish because I haven't got my facial femme yet. But once I get that motherfucking facial femme, honey, I'm probably gonna be in sweatpants.
But
and
girl,
sneakers and all
I'm
of that
sitting
shit
here
all day.
talking to you, and yo, you a woman, bitch. I'm just, bitch. What are you?
Yeah, but I mean, I
and
get
you
it from
going to
both
get
of
facial?
them. And I love the comfort. I love
Go. It was nice tea time.
So I'm saying I get it, but again, I think the only reason why I'm not, my whole thing as far as the realness and things are concerned, like I think a lot of the older girls, especially the older girls, have a hard time wrapping their mind around someone living their life in a way that got their sisters killed.
Yeah. So how about this?
Like that's hard to
Now that's deep.
Like it's hard to, you know what I'm saying?
And that's where the story. That's where we wrapping up. You get that. and that.
Right.
That's what makes it. That's what makes it so challenging for me, because it's just like, damn, just say Amy from this state got killed at 17 years old at the beginning of her transition, and she looked just like you from an aesthetic standpoint, and maybe her dreams were different from yours, but I think it's hard for a lot of the girls to wrap their mind around, like, damn,
Because this was a part of our survival.
right.
Right.
It's a rite of passage.
Also,
when you get these titties, when you get these surgeries, it's like we've been on the battlefield. And it's like they fighting a war over there, but we fight a war over here. And these were our scars. These my purple hearts. This my motherfucking, these my medals that I got from surviving the battlefield. And these young girls ain't gotta get them.
Listen, ladies.
They ain't gotta get their purple hearts no
This is
more.
a conversation that's gonna go on and on and on and on and on. So at this point, like it really was a great debate around us and everything. Like I said, just have respect for your sisters.
Right.
So
And I want to ask. So all 5 of you have yous are all like very confident and amazing Black trans women. I just want to leave people with advice. How did you become so confident in the skin that you're in? Starting with Tia.
You know what? For me, I'm from St. Louis, and it's a very, very rough town. And then I moved to Brooklyn, and it's really, really rough. But I just know that there's something great in me. I know that, I have no doubt about where I'm going. It's just like the process of it. And at the end of the day, once I realize when I go home at night and close my door, and there's no one else there but me, once I really, really realized that and took that in, my life began to change. So I don't care. Even a lot of times I'm like, here and we having this conversation, but I am very proud to be trans. I like sometimes when I'm out and some people can tell that I'm trans, or they could get it. Like, I love that.
Me too.
I just want us to not battle each other. We have like so much going on, and it's like I was kind of making a point because it's like, yeah, we are all trans and under this umbrella, but it's like the Bloods and Crips type of thing. If you attack my kind of trans, I'm coming for your type of trans.
It's all gang shit though.
Yeah,
It's all
but
gang
at the
shit,
same time, I could
That's a good analogy.
At the same time, I could get on you and check you about your shit, but when it comes to it and you need me, I got your back and I'm fighting for you too. But as someone who is, you know, a mother, I don't really like the older thing because I'm one of the baddest bitches to walk Brooklyn. Just to really say that, and I'm not really a surged out girl and all of that either. People could think that. No, I'm just a pretty bitch that moaned out, and only surgeries I've had is implants, and I'm not, you know. But I'm just saying all that to say, at the end of the day, when I go home, it's just me and that's it, and the people that I love, and just knowing that I have a lot to offer, and know that I'm going great places. So yeah, thank you.
That part.
So as a black trans woman, how I was able to get comfortable in my skin is just I did the work, and I simply start realizing my own value and what I have to offer in this world. And yeah, it's great to be passable. It's great to be all of these things. At the end of the day, how am me being passable going to help my next sister from not being killed or being killed? So I know I gained confidence in my skin when I realized that my voice has weight on it, and that I can actually move and shake in, because I can go in certain spaces and navigate certain spaces that my sisters cannot. I'm able to have those conversations because when I have the conversation with Trade, and he looking at me like, damn, you're so fine, but I'm just like, here's why you a problem to my community. So I have that responsibility, and when I learned that, that's why I gained my confidence. And I want to continue to do the work with Fishline. Fishline.com, you guys. Fishline83.com. Go check it out. That is why to be serious, that's why I do the work, because I know within my confidence in who Janelle is, I can usher in that conversation just a little bit more sweeter than some of my other sisters can't. So that's how I gain my skin. Just do the work for yourself. Love yourself.
And I think just to piggyback off of what she said, because it's so southern, you know, like just kind of like a theme for me. But I feel like for me, coming up as a black trans person in the South and understanding that I was always made to feel like the person who was less than, because I wasn't a real woman, or a real man. I was always less than. When I was in male spaces, I was rejected, and when I was in female spaces, I was accepted, but I was accepted as more like the sidekick, you know, like I was the Robin to their Batman. And so, like, understanding for me that my power was embracing the fact that I was my mother and my father. Because when I listen to religious leaders about, like Farrakhan talking about the effeminization of the black man, and I'm sitting here saying, well, if the effeminization of the black man is coming from chemicals, and if it's coming from fashion designers, and if it's coming from all of these things, well, let's have a conversation about how we grow up in a one-sided church where we only pray to a man, or when we go into a government and we only vote for men. Why wouldn't you having a government and having a religious ideology that forces you to always be showing adoration for a man not give you a homosexual thought? So I'm willing to have that conversation with religious leaders who like to talk about the feminization of the black man and talk about how we live in a world that is so male-centered and male-dominated. Why wouldn't it be so much homosexuality in this reality? So I think it's, again, like my sister said, it's doing the self-work and understanding who you are and loving yourself and knowing that it is not a demotion to channel your mother. And when your mother tries to call you on it, why you want to be a girl, why are you acting like me? Mama, are you ashamed of yourself, mama? Mama, what's going on with you? What's your tea, mama? You're not strong, you weak. Because in the jungle, the lionesses do the hunting. And the lionesses don't have to do all that extra work. The male animals do stuff to impress the female animals in nature. So, sweetheart, you're a hunter in nature. What's up? So I'm weaker because I'm channeling you. When you say the word she, if you take the S off, you get E. If you say her, if you take the R off, you get E. Miss Thing, you're everything, sweetheart. So, what's the issue with me honoring you and acknowledging you? And I just think that when you can take the power and twist what somebody tried to make something negative for you and turn it into something powerful, then that's how you get your self-confidence. And you really need that as a black trans woman anywhere in this nation, anywhere in the world, because they do get it worse in places like Saudi Arabia and certain parts of Africa. So, I want to acknowledge that other nations don't have the freedoms that we have. So we need to be trying to set a standard for them versus arguing, with each other.
Mm-hmm. What was the question?
Show confidence.
It's innate. It didn't come from anywhere. It's who I am. It's innate.
Period.
Some girls need additives. This is who I am. 9 times out of 10, this is who I am. You get like 1 of those out of 10 for me to be very chill, and laid back into myself. But for the most part, my confidence has always been there. I don't know what God cooked up when he created me, or whatever the higher being put in the ingredients we created me, but I've never been afraid of my mother. I've never been able to speak up for myself to my mother. And I come from a Native American Jehovah's Witness background. I've never been afraid to speak up for myself. Being marginalized was challenging, but it didn't bother me because I turned it on my mother's time. She has to respect me now at this point, and she does in a lot of ways. And what's odd is that I literally am everything that everybody said that I was not. Everyone swore that I wasn't educated, so I turned it out and went and got degrees on the girls and paid for it without student loans. Everyone said, especially my mother, hey girl, because I know you're gonna see it because you watch me, but you don't call. But call, girl, it'll be productive. Try to tell me that like makeup and things of that nature wasn't going to afford me anything, and that it was gonna be the death of me. I've had like whole makeup kits thrown out. So to be able to bring it full circle, as both of you said, to bring it full circle, that's my confidence, my power of influence, my power, the power that I have to bring things into fruition for my life. And just the love that I have for myself is where the confidence comes from. I'm fine. I was raised an only child, so I really don't give a fuck about anything that any of you say about me. I just don't care, and majority of the people with a lot of the opinions have not been to the places that I've been, have never touched the on paper or off paper salaries that I've touched, have not got access to the men that I have access to, and definitely not living like I live, So my confidence comes from knowing that I'm authentic and there's only one me. So I turn it out every chance I get. You don't fucking like it, you can go, But I like to lead. I'm gonna end everything what I'm saying with, I like to lead with love and lead with kindness. I got the personality of Electra, but I got the heart of Blanca. I will cuss your ass out, but I'll feed you, and I might let you stay at my place for a day or so, but you can't live there long term.
When I first started watching Pose, one of the things that I noticed was that, all of the villains are all dark-skinned women, and the heroes are all light-skinned women, and and just like any other black community, colorism is real. Mm-hmm. It is a bitch, and I feel like as a dark-skinned woman, I haven't faced any colorism, but it's there. And I remember sitting
They
there.
don't like us with our natural hair.
Mm-hmm. And I remember sitting there watching it, and I was like, wow. Because I would watch some episodes multiple times, and I'm just sitting there like, wow, all of the evil characters, the angry characters are all dark-skinned black women. And my whole thing is, while I don't like that stereotype that all dark-skinned black women are angry, but for me personally, I'm pissed. And I think as for where I get my confidence, I think for me, I I get my confidence from seeing other older Black trans women. Like, regardless of whatever differing opinions we may have about whatever it is, I get my confidence from other older Black trans women. You know, because growing up, you know, I saw growing up, you know, I saw like the white trans girls and everything.
Like who?
I think like white trans girls, like I can't think of her. Alexandria Billings, her. You know, people like
Who
her.
else? Never mind.
You knew some girls in your community?
No, I just
trans women.
what? I'm
So
sorry.
these were known white trans
Yeah.
women or local?
Like no, I'm sorry,
Okay,
no.
no.
I got you. Yeah, I clarified. You know, but yeah, it wasn't until I saw people like Janet Mock, Laverne Cox, you know, and even as I get more further on social media, seeing other girls, you know, that's where I get my confidence. I learned, if they can walk with their heads held high, so can I. And as for what I want to say to other, you know, Black trans girls, live your truth, however that may be.
I didn't watch Pose when everybody else started watching it because of the way that it was promoted. All of the girls had the straight hair in their head when it was promoted. Like, they all had on straight wigs. And I was like, all of these Black girls, can somebody have a curl pattern, a tight curl pattern? And normally when you see like a bohemian curl or something like that, it's always the girl who look like she's from the Dominican Republic and that they'll let do that. But like, the darker the girl is, the straighter her hair have to be. And for me, I feel like it bothers me because white people will live for you when you wear the straight hair, but they'll also turn around and remind you that that's not your hair.
Also,
But you know what? Kenji's character was very.
She did a little
Afrocentric.
She did a little C4.
And I was probably there for every episode. But it is Hollywood.
But she's
Of
very
course
petite
there.
though. She give you that
But
white woman body.
But you know, it was just a start. They have to start somewhere, but colorism is real.
Yeah, it's very real.
if I can add on what I said about living your truth, also know that if you feel like no one loves you, I love you. I love you all.
Aww.
I really want you to know, this probably was a really tough conversation to have.
I mean,
You did good.
it wasn't. No, it wasn't primarily.
Well, even if it wasn't a tough
She's
conversation.
probably used to debating and stuff. She's in
Right.
college, so
You
You know,
What?
child, she on Tea Time Network. She about to go back to Ohio, bitch. I'm on Tea Time.
But listen, even if it wasn't a tough conversation for you, it was a tough conversation for me because one thing with you standing in your truth so strongly, it really had for me to make me look at myself and be like, damn, bitch. Like, I know you look the way you look, but are you really truly living in your truth the way this individual is? And I can admire that.
we had motherfucking tilled the ground and got the ground ready for her.
And exactly,
So she could do this.
Me, myself, as an older girl, and I'll say, because I take pride in saying I'm an older girl, because I'm surviving, bitch, over 35.
Yes.
So, within me being an older girl, I now do have to realize that we have to be in some way thankful to these young generations.
Also,
Because they breaking down the walls that
That's
we
right.
could not. We only built the path.
Shit.
Also, they are breaking down the wall that now we are there.
also, if I
We
can,
got them to the wall.
Also,
we,
one
exactly, we
point-
built the path.
We
so
got
let
them
these
to the wall.
motherfuckers do the rest of the work.
Now all y'all got to do is knock that motherfucker down.
One
Right.
point.
That father fucker down to both of them fuckers.
Instead of instead of some of these girls coming for the younger girls, we need to uplift them. You know, and say you are enough.
Any last words?
Black trans lives matter.
Thank you, Tea Time, honey.
And do it, Black